Little cut for Masvidal on the left of his left eye. We'll keep an eye on that for you.
Masvidal found the home for that straight left. Oh, there's that switch that knocked out Darren Till.
Jab lands cleanly for Kamaru Usman.
Yeah. Masvidal's fighting at a crazy pace. You've got to wonder if he can keep this up for 5 rounds, or is he going to slow down?
It was the 4th fight that took place on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. Dana White wasn't about to let a worldwide pandemic stop the UFC. At UFC 251, we started the night with women's flyweight fighters Paige VanZant and Amanda Ribas battling it out in the octagon. In the first round, Ribas got VanZant to the ground early and opened a cut on VanZant right away. Ribas twisted VanZant around, and before long, Paige was in a tight armbar and tapped.
Couple of good knees. Oh, look at that.
High amplitude takedown early for Ribas. We'll see what she can do with it.
Almost. She's just going to straighten the hips and extend the arm. And this is high stakes early on.
The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Ribas, still trying to isolate the arm, maybe belly down here.
Hey, there's no quitting Paige VanZant.
She tapped Amanda Ribas.
There it is.
A quick night at the office, and her star just continues to shine, Michael.
Ribas' jiu-jitsu expertise really showed, and it wasn't too long after this VanZant left the UFC for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Next up, we had women's strawweight fighters Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas taking each other on for the second time. In their first match, Andrade landed a brutal slam KO on Namajunas that knocked her out cold. So this time, Rose really needed to prove herself. In the first round, Rose had a significant reach advantage, but Andrade kept up her head movement and made it hard for Rose to land. Before the end of the second round, Rose tried a flying knee that landed but knocked her to the ground for a moment.
All right, let's check in on that blue corner of Thug Rose Namajunas. There's the knee.
All night.
In round 3, Andrade landed a huge uppercut that made Rose's nose start to bleed.
Remember, the little short punches.
Ooh.
Little short touches. Little short touches. Remember, a little strong arm.
All right, so a nice uppercut from Andrade. Namajunas getting a little leaky with that nose.
That got your attention, John.
It did, it did.
Soon, Andrade flipped Rose to the ground, but Namajunas came back with a push kick and stood up quickly.
Andrade, though, really
That one definitely did damage. Big hip throw. She let it go. Looking for it again. Nice work. Kicked her off, right back to the feet.
It was a close fight, but by the end, Namajunas landed more strikes to the head and came out with a win by split decision. For our next fight, we had bantamweight fighters Petr Yan and Jose Aldo slug it out for 5 rounds for a chance at the bantamweight championship. Right away in round 1, Yan landed a huge punch that put Aldo on notice.
Oh! Early land with the right by Yan.
Hard land. Man. That got his attention.
Soon after, Aldo landed a leg kick that knocked Yan to the mat. Before the end of round 1, Aldo took some heavy shots from Yan but survived until the next round. In rounds 3 and 4, both fighters landed huge, significant strikes. The end of the 4th looked like the end for Aldo, but it wasn't until round 5 where Yan unleashed huge strikes and ground and pounded his way to a victory.
I think if you're Jose Aldo. Oh! Man, huge start to the round. 1-2 down the pipe, and
Aldo's down. He's hurt. Petr Yan trying to close things out here. Intelligent defense.
He says fight back, but he's just looking at the floor. He wants the fight to be finished, but he's too much of a man to submit. He's not going to tap. He's not going to give up like that.
And that'll do it. Petr Yan is an undisputed world champion at 27.
Next up, we had the featherweight championship rematch between Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Before the end of the first round, Holloway landed a head kick that shook Volkanovski and followed up with some strikes.
Though of his first MMA coach, Joe Lopez. Head kick for Holloway.
Wow. Beautiful spinning back kick, comes with a high kick, but the right leg puts Volkanovski down. Yeah, this is certainly a different fight.
A huge early moment for Max Holloway.
But the bell saved Volkanovski before he could take too much damage. In round 2, Holloway kept up the pace and threw some solid uppercuts that rocked Volkanovski. The entire fight looked great for Holloway until round 5, when Volkanovski was able to get some takedowns and dominant positioning.
But still, the fact they're throwing with such frequency so often, look at that, nice trip.
Very close across the board.
Holloway as calm as ever, firing back. Both guys, I mean, what a fight.
All right, down the stretch here, final seconds of this championship fight, and a late takedown for Volkanovski.
The first real takedown.
Incredible.
In what ended up being an extremely close fight, Volkanovski came out the victor and defended the UFC Featherweight Championship belt. Finally, we had the final fight of the night. Welterweight champion Kamaru Usman would face fan-favorite fighter Jorge Masvidal. Originally, this bout would be against Gilbert Burns. However, it was announced that Burns was pulled from the contest after he and his coach tested positive for COVID-19. Pending pre-fight testing and a 24-hour quarantine, Masvidal got the call and served as Burns' replacement. To start out the first round, Usman quickly got Masvidal on the ground and stayed dominant on top.
Masvidal slick. He's got to be careful with that. That's the problem against a wrestler, throwing low kicks. They're going to catch it, they're going to take you down. This is bad for Masvidal. I mean, listen, he's been here many times, but make no mistake, this is where Usman wants him, precisely where he wants him, 30 seconds into the fight.
But soon Masvidal was back up and landing heavy shots on Usman, making the Nigerian Nightmare a little nervous.
You've already seen some early stance switches out of Jorge Masvidal.
Good shot, nice knees. Man, I'm telling you, Masvidal looks very sharp here tonight.
The second round had both fighters spending a lot of time in the clinch, and Masvidal gathered a couple cuts to the face. Usman landed some huge shoulder strikes that would make McGregor proud, but Masvidal returned with some tight strikes before the end of the round.
Position when I'm not in any threat. Ooh, turning it on there.
Masvidal, the body just misses with the right hand counter.
In the third round, Usman landed a low blow that made the refs stop the fight momentarily while Masvidal took the time to recover. Later in the round, Usman once again scored a huge takedown on Masvidal. Usman kept up the clinching and takedowns in round 4 and remained dominant. Usman came out with a victory by unanimous decision and held on to his belt. Usman will fight once again against Colby Covington at UFC 268.